It's time for Three Things with Coach G.
Number one, hey, do you like Chinese food? Because if you do, you're in luck. So far this summer, if you add up all of the runs that we have done just at practices, we would have traveled 7,300 miles, which would take us, if you could run this route, a direct line from Cumming, Georgia, all the way to Beijing, China. How about that? Pretty incredible. Like, I know you guys and girls have run sometimes away from practice. You've been on vacation, or there are times when you've run from home when you haven't been able to make a practice. So those miles would go even further. But just from the visits at practice, we have run halfway around planet Earth. Pretty amazing about what we can do together. So great job so far. Just a few practices left until the school season starts. So consistency is key. If you are in town, please, please, please come to practice. The more consistently you can run, the better off it's going to be. Coming to China. You guys amaze me. Number two, let's talk shoes. Let's talk shoes. Hey, we discussed this before, but running shoes are the most important piece of equipment that you have for our sport. You're going to be taking 1,000 steps a mile and putting the impact of somewhere between 2.5 and 3.5 times your body weight every single time that you land. So if you weigh 100 pounds, that's 250 to 300 pounds of force. 1,000 times a mile times however many miles you're running, that puts a lot of impact on your body. The shoes that you have that you're running in won't be worn out when the top part of the shoe, called the upper, gets dirty. They won't be worn out when the bottom of the shoe looks like that you've worn out the rubber on it. They get worn out when that soft, squishy stuff in the middle has gone through all of those impacts, 1,000 steps per mile. And over time, that foam loses its resilience and it's no longer able to absorb impact forces as efficiently as it did before. Typical runners can get somewhere between 300 and 500 miles on a pair of running shoes. So we're going into our 7th week of practice. If you've been running on average 30 miles a week, at this point, 7 times 3 is 21. You've got about 210 miles on your shoes. Probably got a few more weeks left on them before it's going to be time to replace them. However, if you've been running slightly bigger miles, you may be getting closer to that time frame when it's time for new shoes. One way you'll also know that it's time for new shoes, regardless of like calculating and capturing all the miles, is just how your body feels. If you start to have times when all of a sudden your legs are just more achy than usual, that's a good sign that your shoes do not have that same impact resilience that they had once before, and it may be time to get a new pair of training shoes. So, number two, most important piece of equipment, make sure that you're staying on top of getting a fresh pair of running shoes when it's the right time. It's going to be the best thing for your body. It's going to keep you running strong, healthy, and injury free. That's it for number two. Number three, let's talk spikes. So, some of you may not even know what a spike is. In our sport, it is typical for game day, for races, to wear footwear that will give you the best opportunity to run super fast. So whether it's track or it's cross country, athletes typically put on something called spikes. Spikes are a lot like training shoes, but the big difference is they are made out of super lightweight materials. So let me ask you a question. If I told you were going to go run a 5K cross country race and you were going to have to carry like half-pound weights in your hands, would you rather run the race with the weights in your hands or with the weights not in your hands? Okay, let me put it a different way. If I told you you had to go put like a quarter pound of weight in your socks to go run a race or take the weight out, what would you choose? Well, obviously, you would choose to be lighter because lighter is faster. Your body's not having to create as much energy to be able to move a certain amount of mass. It's like physics stuff. I'm not that smart. Some of you are way smarter than me about this kind of stuff. So, cross country spikes, track spikes. What does all this stuff mean? Here's the scoop. Do you need them? You do not have to have them. It is not a requirement for our team that you run in track in spikes. Do I think that you should run in them? I would say yes, and for a couple of reasons. Mainly just because they are more lightweight, um, because they've got these pokey metal spikes up on the front part of the shoe. They give you better traction. So if we have a day where the conditions are wet or muddy or that kind of thing, that you'll be able to get better traction in the kind of muddy stuff. They also kind of put your foot in a better kind of position to be able to run more aggressively and faster, kind of up on your midfoot, the way that you do when you're racing and running faster. And I do think they actually provide a competitive advantage. Now, on the track, I know some of the shoes that most of our kids are racing in, or a lot of our kids are racing in, called the Nike Dragonfly, is good for about 3 seconds per mile on the track. So if I told you to go out and race and put on like another person's spikes, like not a super spikes, dragonflies are considered super spikes, you would run about 3 seconds slower in those shoes than you would in a Nike Dragonfly. And if you just had on your training flats, you would probably run 3 to 5 seconds slower than that. So 3 to 5 seconds, 8 seconds, maybe a mile, depending upon where you are in the sport, that might not mean that much to you. If you're just out there trying to get in shape, you want to be able to complete 5,000 meters, the fact that you might save 10 or 15 seconds over a 5K period of time may not be anything that really means a whole lot to you. It's like, yeah, what's the difference? If you are trying to be really competitive, though, 15 seconds can be a really big deal. Like at later on in the season, if you ran a PR by 15 seconds, you'd be pretty excited about that. So spikes will give you a competitive advantage and allow you to race a little faster. So what do you need to buy? Um, Here's what's going on currently in the world of spikes. So super spikes, these ones that will, because of the way that the foam's designed in the shoes and the kind of plates that they put in there to provide some stiffness and some spring in the shoes, um, they are at a place now to where that Nike Dragonfly, which I talked about before, is on sale. Now, all sizes may not be available currently, but a lot of them are. And it's a shoe that normally costs like $150 or $160, and you can buy it a lot of places right now for $80. That's a steal. Like that is a bargain for that shoe. It is a great shoe. Most of the world records in track have been set in it, and it does work for cross country for the kind of courses that we run on. If we were in Europe and we were running on courses that were like super muddy and all that kind of stuff, it probably wouldn't be a great shoe. But for the kind of courses we run on, it's perfect. And the good news is you can also use it again during the track season. So it's going to be something you can race in cross country. You can also race in track. So that's a really good opportunity. The Nike Dragonfly 2 is out. That one is not going to be on sale anywhere. It's going to be full price at $160, and it's probably not going to um, be available in all sizes everywhere. Do I think you should use that for cross country this season? I would say probably not. I don't have any experience with it because it's brand new, but the spike plate on that shoe only has 4 spikes, and the current one has 6. And I think more traction is better for cross country. So I would say if you want to get that one for track season, that would be a great shoe for track season because Nike probably made it a little better and a little faster for the track. I also heard that it has a little bit wider base on it to where it's going to be a little more stable when you're going around those left-hand turns all the time on the track. And there's also something called a Dragonfly XC. So it's got all the same technology with the really cushy foam that, makes you fast and saves your legs. But it's got a little bit more aggressive bottom for a little more traction, a little more protection. And the upper is made out of materials that are more substantial so that they won't kind of get torn up as easily as a Dragonfly will. These shoes are all kind of in that $150 zone, but again, you can find a lot of them on sale right now, which is a great thing. Like go find them and buy them online. That's a good deal. How should these spikes fit? They should fit really not tight on your foot, but almost feel like a sock that's on your foot. There should not be a lot of room to wiggle around. A lot of people don't race with socks on when they have on spikes. And if you are going to race with socks, I would suggest that you get really thin ones and also get some that go up high enough over the heel so that you don't have rubbing on the back here where the back of the spike hits your ankle. So you need to get a sock that's like a little bit taller so that you don't get abrasion there. So beyond these Nike spikes, what else is available? On, which is a Swiss company, has a spike that's called the On Cloud 10,000 or 10K, which a lot of the pro athletes are running in. We've never had anybody on our team running in them, but I've been told they are super fast. I believe that they would work great for cross country. They're probably not on sale anywhere. They're like $150, and sizing may be a little limited on clouds, but they're a great alternative to the Nike Dragonfly for kids who are looking for shoes that are going to give them that advantage, that 3 to 5 seconds a mile advantage that might make all the difference. The difference between, you know, being a region champion and not being a region champion. If you don't want to go with a super spike, if you're like, hey, I'm kind of new at this, I think I might want to wear spikes, but I don't want to spend $150 and I don't really need as much of an advantage with this, kind of high tech stuff. You could buy shoes that are significantly less expensive. So Nike makes a shoe called the Rival XC that is normally retailed for $70. And I think you can probably find it on sale a few places this time of year, like on an older color or something like that. And it would be great for like a new cross country runner, beginning cross country runner. You want like a game day shoe, but you're not ready to fully invest in like the super highest tech model that's available. And they will offer some of the same advantages. They will be lighter weight. They will provide better traction. They will give you a little bit better protection in terms of the materials on the upper of the shoe. So that would be a great alternative for a game day shoe. So that's the scoop on spikes. Do you have to have them? No. Do I think that they make you faster? Yes. And it's kind of part of the experience. It's kind of part of the sport. It'd be like going to like a soccer game or like baseball and not having your game day shoes to wear, like just going out there in your everyday trainers and trying to play the sport at a high level. Places where you can get these online for sure. And then also the local running specialty stores, Big Peach, Running Warehouse, will have these shoes in stock that you can try on, and we'll get them to where you can have them available for you as soon as you need to use them. I would recommend that you do try them on because not all shoes fit exactly the same. And because you maybe wear a different brand or you wear the same brand, that doesn't mean that the size is going to be the same in track spikes. So make sure that they fit good. All right, that's it. Game day shoes, spikes. Number three, uh, be thinking about purchasing those because it's not going to be very long before we have our first time trial. That's it.